The 1980s weren't just loud, they were legendary. This was the decade when tractor companies went all in on raw power, brute strength, and heavy-duty engineering that pushed machines to their absolute limits. Massive frames, monster engines, 4WD giants, and torque figures that still shock modern farmers. These tractors weren't just strong, they were unstoppable. Get ready, because these are the 10 strongest heavy-duty tractors built in the 1980s, the machines that ruled the fields like kings. Number 1. Versatile 1150. When people talk about the most powerful production tractors of the 1980s, the Versatile 1150 almost always appears at the top of the list. This Canadian-built machine represented the era's obsession with pushing horsepower limits far beyond what traditional row-crop tractors could deliver. The 1150 boasted a monstrous 470-plus horsepower, which during the early 1980s, that power came from a massive Cummins engine designed specifically for long hours of heavy pulling, deep tillage, and operating wide air seeders, machines that were quickly becoming normal on the mega farms of North America. Versatile understood that raw power alone wouldn't make a tractor successful, so they built the 1150 around a hugely reinforced frame, heavy-duty axles, a cooling system made for desert-like conditions, and a transmission that could survive under continuous punishing torque loads. Farmers who used the 1150 often commented on how effortlessly it handled extreme loads that smaller tractors struggled with. Where 300 HP tractors bogged down in clay soils or struggled to maintain speed with 50-foot implements, the 1150 simply pulled through without drama. Its large fuel tank, simple mechanical systems, and rugged design made it ideal for long field days on farms where downtime was unacceptable. Of course, such enormous power came at a cost. Literally and figuratively, fuel consumption was high, maintenance required skilled hands, and transporting the machine on public roads was a challenge. But none of that prevented the 1150 from cementing its legacy as one of the strongest, boldest tractors of the 1980s. It was a symbol of an era when manufacturers were unafraid to go big, very big. Number 2. Big Bud 450-500 Series. While the famous Big Bud 747 often steals the spotlight, the production Big Bud tractors of the 1980s, especially the 450 and 500 series, were the ones that truly shaped farming in the Great Plains and beyond. These machines were not mass-produced for casual buyers. They were built for the largest farms that needed machinery capable of working thousands of acres under the toughest soil conditions. Big Bud tractors stood apart because they used industrial-grade components, massive frames, truck-derived heavy diesel engines, enormous transmissions, and planetary final drives built closer to mining equipment than normal farm tractors. The result? Machines that could run 450 to 500 horsepower all day without overheating, stalling, or tearing themselves apart. The typical Big Bud customer wasn't looking for luxury, but reliability and endurance. These machines were built in Montana, specifically for working in harsh climates, remote locations, and gigantic wheat fields, where breakdowns could ruin entire seasons. The Big Bud 450-500 series offered unmatched torque at low RPMs, which made them perfect for deep ripping, heavy chiseling, and pulling extremely wide cultivators. Unlike more complicated machines from larger manufacturers, Big Buds were known for their simplicity. Farmers could repair nearly every part with basic tools, and components were sourced from widely available industrial suppliers. The tractors were rugged, loud, and sometimes crude, but no one denied their strength. Operating a Big Bud in the 1980s made you part of a small club of farmers who needed serious horsepower before GPS, auto steer, and electronic controls made fieldwork easier. These tractors represent an era when brute mechanical force ruled the farm, and in that world, few machines were tougher than a Big Bud. Number 3. Case 4994. Case made a bold statement in the mid-1980s with the introduction of the 4994, one of the most advanced and powerful tractors they ever built. This machine delivered a staggering 400 horsepower straight from the factory, making it one of the highest horsepower production tractors of its time. It featured a massive V8 diesel engine, often a Scania V8, paired with a full power shift transmission, giving operators the ability to work with enormous implements in any field conditions without constantly worrying about gears or torque limits. Case designed the 4994 specifically to compete with the likes of Versatile and Big Bud in the high horsepower large acreage market, and the tractor delivered exactly what it promised: unstoppable pulling power. The 4994 wasn't just powerful, it was sophisticated. Case gave it multiple steering modes, including crab steer, allowing operators to handle wide implements or work on slopes with more stability and precision. The tractor's huge frame and heavy axles ensured that the incredible V8 torque didn't destroy the driveline under peak loads, while the large cooling system helped the machine work long hours in hot climates. For large farming operations that needed to deep-rip tough soils or pull massive air drills, the 4994 became a trusted workhorse. However, the tractor wasn't without challenges. Its complexity made repairs expensive, and the V8 layout restricted some servicing access. Still, for many operators, the productivity gains far outweighed the drawbacks. The Case 4994 remains a symbol of Case's engineering ambition during the 1980s, a tractor built for those who needed serious muscle and wouldn't settle for anything less. Number 4. John Deere 808050. The John Deere 808050 remains one of the most iconic tractors of the 1980s, representing the peak of Deere's V8-powered 4WD lineup. Delivering around 370 horsepower, the 808050 was a true workhorse designed for America's largest fields. At the heart of the machine was Deere's massive 955 cubic inch V8 diesel engine, an engineering statement meant to prove that Deere could compete with anyone in the high horsepower market. The engine produced enormous torque, allowing the tractor to rip through heavy soils with wide chisels, discs, and early air seeders. The 808050 wasn't just about raw power. It was also engineered for comfort and reliability. Deere's full power-shift transmission gave operators smooth control under varying loads, while the large cab provided superior visibility and reduced fatigue during long days. Many farmers loved the tractor's handling, especially its stability under heavy drawbar loads. The hydraulic system was strong for its era, capable of handling large air seeders and other high-demand implements, becoming popular during the decade. Still, the 808050 had its challenges. The V8 was powerful but expensive to rebuild, and over the years many tractors were repowered with Cummins engines due to the giant frame's long service life. But even with those limitations, the John Deere 808050 remains legendary. It was Deere's declaration that they could build a big 4WD tractor with the same durability, refinement, and dealer support that made their 2WD tractors famous. For many farmers, the 808050 wasn't just a machine, it was a badge of honor. Number 5. Case 4894. The Case 4894 was one of the most advanced heavy-duty tractors of the 1980s, delivering about 300 horsepower and offering one of the best power-to-control combinations of the decade. While it wasn't as powerful as its big brother, the 4090 Sound 24, it introduced key features that made it incredibly capable in real-world farming conditions. One of its most innovative features was crab steering, allowing all four wheels to turn in unison but in different directions. This gave the tractor improved traction, better weight distribution, and exceptional maneuverability with wide implements, something extremely useful in hilly areas or fields with variable soil. Power came from a high-torque Scania engine, famous for durability and reliability under continuous load. The 4894's transmission, axles, and frame were overbuilt to handle extreme field conditions, making it a favorite among operators who regularly tackled deep ripping, subsoiling, heavy chiseling, and large cultivator pulls. Its hydraulic system was also advanced for the era, allowing operators to run multiple high-demand implements simultaneously. Farmers appreciated the 4894, not only for its raw power, but also for its comfort and control. The cab was spacious and designed for long workdays. The steering options, two-wheel steer, four-wheel steer, and crab steer, gave unprecedented flexibility for a farm tractor of that time. While maintenance could be complex due to the advanced systems, the machine's overall durability meant that many 4894s stayed in service long after production ended. The Case 4894 stands as one of the most well-rounded heavy-duty tractors of the 1980s, blending strength, innovation, and practicality into one impressive machine. Number 6. International Harvester 4786. The International Harvester 4786 was one of the most powerful tractors I ever produced. And although it first appeared in the late 1970s, its real influence and widespread field usage peaked in the early to mid-1980s. This machine represented IH's attempt to dominate the large 4-duty sector during a time when farms across North America were expanding rapidly and demanding more horsepower than ever before. Equipped with a massive DV800 V8 diesel engine capable of pushing around 350 horsepower, the 4786 was engineered for extreme pulling jobs, deep tillage, heavy chiseling, and hard soil ripping that smaller machines simply couldn't endure. Unlike some competitors who adapted industrial engines or truck frames, IH partnered with Steiger to develop a true agricultural-grade machine. The 4786 came with Steiger's proven heavy-duty drivetrain, robust axles, and an articulated chassis designed specifically for agricultural torque loads. This collaboration gave the tractor exceptional traction and stability, allowing operators to pull very wide implements even through wet or hilly terrain. Farmers praised the machine for its simplicity, raw strength, and reliability under continuous full-load operation, something essential for large farms trying to cover thousands of acres during tight weather windows. A notable advantage of the 4786 was its straightforward mechanical layout. In an era before electronic complexity, everything on the tractor from the engine to the articulation joint was designed to be repaired with basic tools and mechanical know-how. This made it a favorite among farmers in remote regions where dealership access was limited, while fuel consumption and maintenance costs were high, as expected from a huge V8. The 4786 earned respect for being a dependable workhorse capable of handling the harshest field tasks of the 1980s. Number 7. Steiger Cougar and Panther Series. The 1980s Steiger Cougar and Panther series were among the most respected heavy-duty tractors ever built, largely because Steiger focused exclusively on the 4WD high-horsepower market. These tractors weren't modified row crop designs, they were purpose-built pulling machines engineered from the ground up for extreme field work. Depending on the model and engine configuration, the Cougar and Panther tractors delivered 250 to 350 plus horsepower, with torque curves that made them ideal for deep ripping, heavy cultivator work, and pulling wide drills across rugged terrain. What set Steiger apart was durability. These tractors were famous for their modular design. If something failed, it could be repaired or replaced without tearing the whole machine apart. Their heavy frames, gear-driven powertrains, and massive axles made them nearly indestructible under long hours of high drawbar pulling. Many Steiger tractors from the 1980s are still working today, which shows how far ahead of their time these machines were. The Cougar and Panther series also featured one of the most comfortable and practical cabs of their era. Good visibility, simple controls, and ergonomic seating made long days tolerable, a big factor when fieldwork often meant 14-hour shifts. Their articulation joints provided excellent maneuverability, helping them deliver more precise control with wide implements than many competitors. For farmers operating on 5,000 to 20,000 acres, Steigers weren't just tractors, they were strategic investments. They could pull almost anything, work non-stop, and survive the abuse of real-world conditions. That's why the Cougar and Panther remain icons of 1980s big iron engineering. Number 8. Kirovets K-701. While Western manufacturers focused on sophistication and refinement, the Soviet-built Kirovets K-701 took a very different approach. This massive articulated tractor was designed to work on enormous collective farms stretching across Russia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan, where simple construction, extreme power, and easy field repair were more valuable than comfort or advanced technology. The K-701 delivered about 300 horsepower, but its real strength came from its torque-heavy V12 diesel engine and brutally rugged frame built to survive everything from frozen winters to blistering summers. The K-701 wasn't pretty, but it was legendary for sheer toughness. It could plow, rip, and cultivate in conditions that would destroy lighter tractors. Its articulation system, giant tires, and high ground clearance made it an unstoppable force in muddy soil, frozen fields, and rough ground. Mechanics loved it because nearly every component was mechanical and accessible. Parts could be fixed or replaced in remote areas without dealership support. The tractor's simplicity made it ideal for regions with limited access to advanced tools or computerized diagnostic equipment. Despite lacking Western comfort, its cab was noisy, basic, and far from ergonomic. The K-701 earned a cult following. To this day, thousands remain in operation across Eastern Europe and Central Asia, often rebuilt and modernized by local workshops. The Kirovets demonstrated that heavy-duty farming didn't always require complexity. Sometimes brute force, massive metal, and simple engineering were enough. In the landscape of 1980s heavy-duty tractors, it stands as a uniquely powerful and iconic machine. Number 9. Allis-Chalmers 4W305. The Allis-Chalmers 4W305 was the most powerful tractor the company ever built, and one of the strongest machines of the early 90s. With its massive 305 horsepower Cummins engine, full-time 4WD system, and heavy industrial-grade driveline, the 4W305 was created for one purpose: to help Allis-Chalmers compete in the rising market for high-horsepower articulated tractors. Designed during a financially challenging time for the company, the 4W305 had to be not only strong, but also exceptionally reliable to win the confidence of large farms. One of the tractor's standout features was its robust powertrain. Allis-Chalmers used some of the toughest components available, including planetary axles, a heavy-duty transmission, and a strong articulation joint built for aggressive pulling. The tractor excelled in plowing, ripping, and cultivating large acreages where continuous heavy drawbar power was required. Operators appreciated its smooth power delivery and the ability to maintain ground speed even under deep soil load. The cab was surprisingly comfortable for its era, offering good visibility, reasonable noise isolation, and a user-friendly layout. Its hydraulic system was another strong point, capable of powering large implements that were becoming increasingly common on expanding farms. Though Allis-Chalmers eventually left the tractor business, the 4W305 remained a respected symbol of the company's engineering capability. Even decades later, many are still seen at work on large farms or restored by collectors who appreciate its raw strength and historical value. Number 10. Ford FW60. The Ford FW60 was one of the strongest and most capable heavy-duty tractors ever to wear the blue oval badge. Built during the early to mid-1980s, the FW60 delivered a commanding 400-plus horsepower, making it the most powerful tractor Ford had ever offered. At its heart was a massive Cummins diesel engine, paired with a rugged 4WD articulated chassis originally derived from Steiger's proven engineering. This combination gave the FW60 the torque, traction, and structural strength needed to handle the rapidly growing demand for large-scale farming machinery. What made the FW60 special was Ford's approach to blending industrial-grade power with operator-friendly design. The cab was spacious and well-insulated for the time, providing a more comfortable environment than many competing tractors. Visibility was excellent, controls were positioned logically, and the machine's overall balance made it stable even when pulling the largest implements of the 1980s. The FW60 quickly gained a reputation for reliability. Its frame was almost impossible to crack. The articulation joint was strong, and the heavy-duty axles allowed it to withstand extreme torque loads during deep tillage. The Cummins engine was known for running thousands of hours with minimal issues, making the tractor a favorite on large wheat farms, grain operations, and open-field livestock farms that required tremendous pulling power. The FW60 represents the height of Ford's heavy tractor ambitions. Its combination of brute horsepower, strong construction, and dependable components cemented its place among the most formidable tractors of the 1980s. These weren't ordinary tractors. They were powerhouses that defined an entire generation of farming. Some became legends, some disappeared. But every one of them proved just how brutally strong 1980s engineering could be. If you enjoyed this journey through the toughest machines of the decade, hit like, subscribe, and tell me which tractor impressed you the most. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned because the next video dives into even more iconic machines that changed farming forever.